Well, the looting sprees and violence over the past couple of days have been very disturbing, of course, to watch. Equally disturbing and very worrying is the social media posts encouraging this kind of behavior. The police minister has said some of the instigators are known, as he says, and they will face the law. But what law are they going to face? Well, luckily, we have an expert who knows about all such things, Ulrich Roux, legal expert, joining us from Cape Town. Good morning to you, Ulrich. Always a pleasure. It's tricky when it comes to social media, isn't freedom of expression. The network has got its own kinds of regulations in place. But when we say those instigating on social media, do we have anything currently in law that we can hold against them?
Hi, good morning, Gareth. Yes, the new Cybercrimes Act came into operation on the 2nd of June this year, and the Act makes it clear that if people are found to be sending messages on social media which incites violence or which incites unlawful damage to property, then they could be held liable. They could be charged with an infringement of the Cybercrimes Act, and they could face a fine or imprisonment of up to 15 years. So very serious implications for people who are spreading fake news and for people who are inciting other people to in this instance, as we've seen, cause severe damage to private property, and in so doing, placing people's lives at risk. So there is definitely severe repercussions for people who infringe this new act.
And I imagine this is across all kinds of social media, and this is where it gets tricky, I'm sure, because obviously we all know about the dark pit that is Twitter. There's also Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. WhatsApp seems to be of particular concern right now. A couple of years ago, I think you and I spoke about this. At the time, WhatsApp wasn't considered a social media. It was considered person-to-person messaging. But now, of course, that's all changed because of how many people are on it. What is the situation with WhatsApp in this new legislation?
So the Act makes it clear that it is any form of electronic communications. So it is all your social media platforms, as well as WhatsApp, Twitter, any means to communicate and any means that people are sending these messages around. And I think what has really been concerning is obviously, our country is faced with a severely dire situation with the unlawful looting going on, extreme damage being caused to properties and to businesses, and people's lives being placed at risk. And then there's, in addition to that, also fake messages doing the rounds. I've received numerous videos, where it's clear that the unrest and the protesting and the looting is not even in South Africa, and it's videos that are old, some of them up to 3, 4, 5 years old.
That's right.
And that's now being spread around, and people inciting fear and instilling fear in people, and that is exactly what this act is aiming to prevent. So the only advice that I can give to people is, before you send something on, make 100% sure that it is authentic and that it is actually truthful. If you don't, and along the lines, a prosecution does take place and it is tracked back to your phone or your device that forwarded on such fake messages, then you could very well be held liable and could face imprisonment in terms of the new act. So please make 100% sure that before you press that send button, that it is authentic and real messages that you are sending.
That's right, and I know, Ulrich, you're a man who's been very vocal on social media in the past with various big court cases as well. I suppose this is where we need to talk about what the test is of incitement. But before I do that, I think it's clear, we should make it clear to anyone watching now that saying that retweets are not endorsements and I'm just forwarding this on, that no longer is an excuse. If you are sharing it, you are acknowledging its existence and sharing it on. You're going to be held responsible, is what I'm hearing, Ulrich. Can I talk about what the test is for incitement? Let me give you a scenario. I'm sent something on Twitter. I decide to retweet it, whether I disagree with it or not disagree with it, but it could be considered as incitement. Am I to blame, or is it the person who sent me the tweet or the WhatsApp? Just in the last minute I have with you.
Yes, so firstly, that saying that whatever you retweet is not an endorsement, that's absolute nonsense. If you share or send something on your social media, you form part of the chain of communication, and that is the test. If you have forwarded something on and it has been forwarded on from there, even though it did not originate from your device or from you personally, then you could be held liable. So the test is whether you were in the chain of communication which led to that message being sent on, and which led to gatherings of people, damage to property, etc., etc. And interestingly, the new Disaster Management Act, as amended now recently by the President's address a week ago, also makes provision for that. So that if you incite people to break the rules and regulations in terms of the Disaster Management Act and in terms of the lockdown regulations, then you could also be held liable, and you could face a fine or imprisonment for that as well.
Oh, Ulrich, I'm going to say thanks very much indeed, making so much sense of what is actually quite a simple situation to understand. If it's fake or you're not sure it's real at all, simply don't share it on. You can now be held liable in a criminal court for that. Ulrich Roux, legal expert, what a pleasure to have you with us, making sense. So it doesn't have to come from your device. Don't retweet, don't reshare anything that you are uncertain about, because now you personally can be held liable for that.